society unwilling to learn from the past is doomed. We must never forget our history. We must never lower our guard.
Edgar, you will rise to be the most powerful man in the country.
J. Edgar Hoover has always been an incredibly dark figure in American history. There were so many salacious rumors about him, not only on a personal but a political level.
Is that legal?
Sometimes you need to bend the rules a little in order to keep your country safe.
A fascinating character and human. He did some despicable things.
It is my belief that when a man becomes a part of this bureau, he must so conduct himself as to eliminate even the slightest possibility of criticism.
It's amazing when you really come to think of it that he at 22 years of age, he'd already graduated from law school. Then he starts this Bureau of Investigation, handling of evidence and fingerprinting, and becomes sort of a pioneer of that.
Imagine if every citizen in this country were uniquely identifiable by the pattern on their fingers. Imagine how quickly we could find them if they committed a crime.
It was an incredibly interesting portrait of a man that kept the same idealistic beliefs about what was right for our country from the 1920s all the way to the 60s when our country was changing immensely, but he didn't adapt. And so ultimately it was a story of how absolute power corrupts absolutely and how horrible things can happen if there aren't checks and balances in the political systems.
I want you to start a file on Senator McKellar immediately. I want 4 agents on him at all times. I want to know what's in his trash, and I want you to photograph him at every dinner. Don't get in the car. You can walk back.
Edgar, we have lunch. We don't miss lunch no matter what, remember?
You pulled away from me in there.
I had to look at this as a tragic love story between Hoover and Clyde. These two guys who felt so much towards each other but were never able to consummate it.
I don't think he trusted many people. He trusted Tolson and he trusted Helen Gandy, and that was probably the extent of it.
All 3 of the main characters that worked in the FBI were never married. They never culminated any personal relationship. Almost like a priesthood, they gave up their personal life. And so it's an interesting psychological portrait of the family unit that they had to create.
I'm not interested in getting married. My work comes first.
Then perhaps you would consider the position as my personal secretary.
I tried to tell it so that the audience can make their own opinions. The audience can decide how they feel about him.
What was fascinating was how he has a tight-knit group of people that he's worked with for years. Very similar to J. Edgar Hoover. You can never get out of your head the image of him sort of with his tiny monitor leaning against the wall, piercing at you, and it motivates you to tell the truth.